Hey folks, welcome to FiddleHed Fiddle Lessons. I want to help you learn note reading so that you can more easily learn tunes that you love. In this lesson, I'm going to give you 7 tips to help you learn how to read sheet music. Number 1, start by reading easy or familiar tunes. Number 2, alternate between reading and just playing. Number 3, use a pencil. Number 4, interleaving. Number 5, use audio as a note reading aid. Number 6, write what you read. Number 7, avoid becoming tethered to sheet music. So the first idea is to start with tunes you already know. Tunes you've played a bunch, you know very well. Then you leverage those to help you learn sheet music. You can leverage a simple tune like Twinkle Little Star. Let's look at the sheet music while I do it. So, the idea of leverage is very powerful, and you could use this simple tune, which seems like some kind of beginner's tune that's maybe not worth doing once you've learned it already. You can keep returning to it to learn new things, like double stops. Whatever you want to learn. Irish embellishments. In this case, sheet music. So say you've learned the basic version really well. Now I can take what I just played and look at it, and then try to read and play it at the same time. So this process is called intuitive note reading, and using easy tunes that you already know is just one part of that bigger note reading strategy. Another simple idea for learning note reading is to alternate between reading and playing. Play something, and then read and play it at the same time. So even if you're already pretty good at reading, it's good to separate from the page, because what happens a lot, you may have noticed this, that when you're playing and you're reading, your bow kind of maybe drift down, or you kind of generally your sound decays a little bit, it degrades a little bit when you're reading. And so it's a very good idea to continuously move from the page and just play and put all your attention back on your sound, your posture, and all those things you forgot about while you were note reading. So if you need to, just play and read one little part, and then go and work on that without reading. You can also do that same alternation with the entire tune. So the third tip is to use a pencil. So if you have printed sheet music that you found on the internet or from a book or something, mark it up with a pencil to help you and to help your future self practice and learn. Later, once those markings may not be needed, you can erase them. So what kind of things can you mark up in the music? You can mark up difficult parts. So let's take a look at a tune. So here's a tune that I'm learning. It's a round peak tune called Chilly Winds. And so for a while I had bracketed. These brackets to me mean things that I have to go and practice. My writing is super sloppy. I could have found a better example. Here's another part that's bracketed. All right. You could also use it to add bowings and stuff. So like slur markings, or if you notice here and here, I put this V symbol, and that means that I'm going to want to do that up bow. And if you notice, it's up bow and then it lands down bow. But for me, it was helpful to put this V symbol. So in a nutshell, you can use a pencil to really leave these little breadcrumbs for yourself, so when you practice, you'll know what to practice. I'm gonna, instead of just running through the whole tune, I've bracketed off the hardest parts. I just can kind of go right to those, and then I can be more efficient with my time. I can just, bam, I've practiced the important thing. Now play the whole thing. Maybe it sounds good, and I can move on or do what I want from there. So other things you can do are like fingerings. Let's say you're unsure how to finger something, or you finger something in an unusual way, you could write your fingerings above that as well. So the fourth tip for note reading is called interleaving. And this is a term for mixing a practice with other practices, alternating one practice with something else. So say I've been practicing note reading on chilly winds, and I've gotten to a certain point where I'm okay with it. Maybe I need a break, or maybe I practiced it enough. I can go on and practice something else, like maybe my double stop scales. And keep practicing that, and then go back and briefly read again, and that's kind of mixing that practice throughout a practice session. It'll help you with your memory, and it will also just help you to get it by taking these breaks. It may be a little bit challenging when you come back to it, especially if you do it on another day. You know, you have that spaced repetition and you return to it. It'll if you return to it a few times in a row, you're going to really get it that way. The fifth idea is to simply have audio that matches the sheet music you're learning. So let's look at Twinkle Little Star again.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Because it matches exactly, I can really start to learn to read. So I put this point in there because a lot of fiddle music, there's a lot of different versions. And so it's important to make sure that whatever version you learn, if you really want to learn note reading in this intuitive manner, that it matches exactly. So tip number 6 is to write what you read. So this is for people who've already begun to practice note reading. This is taking it to the next level. And basically, once you can read a piece, like using Twinkle Little Star is a great example because it's a very simple tune, you then attempt to write it. Just get a notebook of sheet music paper or blank pages, or even use an online app like Muse, and simply try to write it out yourself. You may want to do it first with looking at the original, but a key step will be you trying to do it completely on your own. So maybe you have the tune memorized, and then you attempt to write out that part. You may even want to start on a part-by-part basis. But what you can do is write down that part and then go and check the original. And if you got it wrong, you can close the original and then try to write it again. So just keep going until eventually you've got it. And so I suspect a lot of you won't want to do this, but if you really want to learn reading, this is really going to take you to home plate. Do people use that expression? I don't know. I'm gonna take that one all the way to home plate anyway. You can. So if you really want to learn, though, writing it out will help you a lot, and it will also help you to visualize the sheet music in your mind. It's kind of like hearing music in your mind, which is called audiation. If you write it out, you're going to know it so much more deeply. All right, the 7th and final tip for note reading is to avoid becoming tethered to the sheet music. So sometimes when people learn note reading, especially classical players, they become overly dependent on it. They can't even look away from the page ever. And I don't think that's going to happen to you as a fiddler, but just in case, I want you to know about this pitfall. In case you get really good at note reading, just be careful, because you might become too good at it and then you become reliant on it. And so to avoid that, simply use reading as a tool. Don't be mastered by it. You use the tool to serve you. And so once you've learned to read a tune, move away from the sheet music, look away from it, and then return to it as necessary, or return to it as a tool, as a way to remember the bowings you did or the parts you need to work on. But constantly move away from the sheet music so that you do not become tethered to it. If you found this lesson to be useful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the FiddleHed channel. All right, thanks for watching this video. 7 tips to help you learn note reading so you can learn tunes you love. If any of this resonated with you or helped you, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Go to fiddlehead.com for a progressive, step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more.
Thanks for watching the videography. Excellent.
And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.